You know, they always say your home's supposed to be your castle, a place where you kick off your boots and forget the world. But mine turned into a damn siege, all because of Evelyn Carter, the HOA boss who thought she could run my life like her little fiefdom. It started small, just a nosy visit, but man, it snowballed into something that tested everything I thought I knew about neighbors and standing your ground. I remember that morning clear as yesterday, the sun barely up over the hills of Willow Creek, Texas, when Evelyn showed up at my gate uninvited, her floral blouse buttoned tight, clipboard in hand like a weapon, that forced smile hiding the edge in her eyes. She'd been gunning for me ever since I bought this old ranch plot, jealous maybe of the space I had while her cookie-cutter house sat crammed with rules she enforced like gospel. "Jack," she said, voice all honey over vinegar, "that rusty tractor and those hay bales out front? They're killing our curb appeal. Folks around here work hard to keep things pristine, and it's like you're thumbing your nose at the whole community." And I just leaned on the fence, coffee mug steaming, thinking how this wasn't about aesthetics at all. It was her way of flexing, of reminding me I was the outsider, the guy who'd rather mend fences than kiss up at barbecues. Deep down, I felt that twist in my gut, the old soldier in me sensing a fight brewing. But I played it cool. "Evelyn, this is working land, not a golf course. Those tools feed my horses, keep the place alive." Yet her eyes narrowed. "Belongings have a way of shifting when rules get ignored, Jack. Just something to chew on." It didn't take long for the whispers to turn into barbs. At the next HOA gathering in the community hall, fluorescent lights buzzing like angry bees, I sat there watching her slideshow on unity and standards, her pointer clicking through slides of manicured lawns, and I couldn't hold back anymore. I stood up, heart pounding a bit from the stairs, holding that violation slip she'd mailed me, the one with her fancy new title scrawled at the bottom, Director of Neighborhood Integrity. And I called her out right there. "Since when do our bylaws let you crown yourself Queen of Enforcement, Evelyn? This smells like overreach, plain and simple." And the room went dead quiet, folks shifting in their metal chairs, a couple murmurs from the back like, "He's got a point." But Evelyn? She froze for a heartbeat, then snapped her laptop shut, face flushing red under that perfect makeup. "You'll wish you'd kept quiet, Thompson. Troublemakers like you drag us all down." And she stormed out, leaving that threat hanging like smoke. Inside, I was churning, wondering if I'd poked a bear or just lit a fuse, but I knew her type. Power-hungry from years of small-town politics, maybe bitter from her divorce, seeing my independence as a slap to her control-freak ways. And sure enough, the retaliation crept in subtle at first. My mailbox twisted just so, not broken but bent like a warning. Footprints stomped through my vegetable patch, and then that creepy wooden raven carved and nailed to my shed door overnight, the kind of symbol locals whispered about tying to the Iron Wolves, a rough biker outfit from the next county over who'd do dirty work for a price. By dawn the next day, I heard the rumble before I saw them. 5 Harleys easing down my dirt road, riders in faded leather, no helmets, just bandanas and scowls, circling slow past my property line without a word, engines growling low like a predator's purr, and it hit me then. This was Evelyn's doing, her way of outsourcing the fear she couldn't wield herself. I stood on the porch, arms crossed, feeling that old combat adrenaline stir, the kind from my Delta days where silence meant more than shouts. At the emergency HOA meet that evening, folks crammed in, tension thick as fog. Evelyn perched at the front like nothing happened, sipping her iced tea, but I didn't wait for roll call. "Those bikers sniffing around my land? Spill it, Evelyn. Who hired 'em to play scarecrow?" And gasps rippled through old Mr. Jenkins in the corner nodding. "Saw 'em myself. Looked mean as hell." But she leaned in, voice dropping to that smug whisper. "Communities protect themselves, Jack. Ignore the code long enough, and outsiders notice, take an interest." And there it was, her slip, admitting just enough to show the rot. I fired back, citing the law chapter and verse. "That's conspiracy to intimidate under federal code, plus Texas trespass statutes. End this now, or the sheriff gets the full tape." And for a flash, her poise cracked, eyes darting. But she rallied with a sneer. "Go ahead, cry wolf. No one's betting on the Lone Ranger over the folks keeping this place civilized." And I walked out, pulse racing, knowing her board was just scared puppets, folks she'd bullied into silence over petty fines and backyard grills, all stemming from her need to dominate after losing control in her own life. Maybe her ex took the house, left her grasping at HOA power like a lifeline. But she wasn't done. The bikers rolled back that afternoon, this time killing engines at my gate, boots hitting gravel as they dismounted. The leader, a grizzled brute with a jagged tattoo snaking up his neck, spitting tobacco juice on my driveway. "You Thompson," word is, "HOA's fed up. Time to pack up, cowboy." And I stepped forward, voice steady despite the knot in my chest. "You're on private land now, boys. Texas Penal Code says one more step after I tell you to get, and it's criminal trespass, conspiracy if she's paying the bill." But they chuckled, eyes cold, advancing like they owned the place. And that's when the war inside me ignited. Memories of sandstorms and firefights flashing, reminding me I'd faced worse than hired goons. They camped out at the road's end that night, headlights piercing the dark, neighbors peeking from blinds too afraid to intervene. And Evelyn? She paraded around in her SUV, waving like a pageant queen. But I'd had enough. This wasn't just about my barn anymore. It was her ego versus my right to breathe free, rooted in her resentment of my military pension-buying land she coveted for development. Whispers from a buddy saying she'd tried to block my sale years back. That's when I flipped the script, called up my old Delta squad, not the law yet, but brothers who'd shared foxholes and scars, men who answered without questions. By midday, 2 pickups pulled in, dust clouding the air, outstepping Ramirez, Hayes, and the rest. Casual jeans, but that unbreakable stare, and Evelyn spotted him from her lawn, face paling as she shrieked over the hedge. "What the hell, Jack? You can't summon your militia. This is a neighborhood, not a war zone." And I shot back, grinning for the first time in days. "Ain't a militia, Evelyn. Just family dropping by, all legal-like, unlike your rented thugs." And the bikers, hearing the commotion, revved up and charged the fence, crossing that line I'd drawn, the leader swinging a wild haymaker I dodged easy, grabbing his arm, twisting him down into the dirt with a grunt that echoed my training. Another lunged, but a quick elbow folded him, and my guys. They moved like ghosts, precise takedowns. Ramirez pinning one with a knee while Hayes zip-tied another. No blood, just efficiency over before the dust settled. The sheriff's cruisers screamed in minutes later, sirens wailing, deputies cuffing the groaning bikers who spilled it all under lights. That Carter woman swore it'd be easy, no cops involved, one muttered, cursing her name on body cam, evidence stacking like dominoes. Evelyn got hauled off that evening from her pristine office. Charges piling up. Conspiracy, hiring for assault, embezzling HOA dues for her security fund, harassment that had terrorized half the block. The board, finally free, booted her unanimously, banning her from ever running again, and those bikers. Plea deals for felony trespass and battery. Last I heard they're cooling heels in county. Neighbors trickled over after, shaking hands, apologizing for staying quiet. "We were scared, Jack, but you showed us how," one said, and I just nodded, feeling the weight lift, telling him straight, "Fear lets tyrants win. Speak up or lose it all." And as the sun dipped low, my squad and I kicked back on the porch with beers, watching fireflies dance over the fields we'd defended, not in some distant desert, but right here in our slice of America. Evelyn thought she could break me, but she forgot. I've stared down real monsters, and bullies like her, they crumble when the light hits. Yet looking back, it makes you wonder, was it all just power gone wrong? Or does every community hide these fractures, waiting for one spark? What do you think? Have you tangled with an HOA nightmare, or seen justice served in your backyard? Drop a comment below, share your story. Let's debate if folks like Evelyn deserve a second chance, or if standing tall is the only way. Hit that like if this hit home, subscribe for more Real Talk tales, and hey, where are you watching from today? Let's see how far these stories travel.